JoJolion is a very divisive JoJo part. I don't think that's really a hot take based on what I've seen from online and the reception it has received. Some people love it, some people hate it, and some people are just in the middle. I'm more on the side of liking the journey and experience you get from part 8, but that's not to say I don't have my problems with this part. Especially coming off of the high of Steel Ball Run, I think JoJolion had been met with the expectations that Araki could potentially surpass his magnum opus that is Steel Ball Run. And while I'm of the camp that it isn't better than Steel Ball Run, perfect rotation energy, and I still have one nail bullet left. Oh. What are we doing right now? What are we doing? There's still something to be said about JoJolion. What's up, you guys, and welcome to Read the Room. My name is Chase the Dark Sage, and today we will be talking about some of my thoughts on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 8, JoJolion. I want to preface this video by saying that I am subject to change my opinions on things I've said on this video because JoJolion is such a mixed bag. We recently read through all of JoJolion on the channel, and it was such an amazing time. I love what Araki did with it, but I also dislike some things that he did with it as well. As the last completed part we have currently, I have defined this part as one of the most unique, bizarre, and creative moments in Araki's career. To me, this creativity comes right after Araki's introduction of stands in Part 3 Stardust Crusaders.
Who the f starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
I know what you're probably thinking. Stands are one of the most unique and creative things to hit manga in my eyes.
Wait. Let him cook.
Stands help show a different side of Araki that he just wouldn't have been able to achieve by just using Hamon as a fighting system. Stands opened up the door for many ways to tell different stories, show different characters, and put many characters in different situations just outside of the fights themselves. So you're probably looking at me like I'm on crack and asking Sage, so how could you say Part 8 shows that much creativity when stands exist? Trust me, with what Araki introduces within Part 8, you would say the same thing from concepts, ideas, and things we have never seen in JoJo's. Araki, as I've stated millions of times, was cooking a 5-star gourmet meal. But there's also something to love about me being able to say it is fitting to have them only in this manga itself. Araki is a writing genius when it comes to manga, so it's a given that he has a brilliant and creative mind, but JoJolion truly shows me that even after 20 years of working on the same series, Araki still has a knack to wow me and his dedicated fans. Not gonna lie, I don't know how the man does it, but he definitely be pimping the pen like Lil Kiki. My Texas people will get this reference. Before we could go any further in this video, I want to say that now is the time to skedaddle if you have not read JoJolion yet. Some of the greatest moments and ideas from JoJolion heavily rely on the mystery aspect of this part and being left in the dark on not knowing what anything means until it's revealed to you in the manga. So I heavily suggest if you haven't read, now is the time to dip. And also, self-plug, if you haven't read JoJolion yet, check out my read-through that's completely finished on the channel if you want to read along with me and get my initial impressions on every single thing that happens in JoJolion. I'll leave a link to the playlist down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to your boy and like the video if you haven't already. You have been warned. Now let's get into it. So, JoJolion. Oh my gosh. The Rokakaka, the rock humans, the equivalent exchange, Josuke being the fusion of two people to make him a different person and a Joestar, Yasuo, the wonder of Go Beyond, and Joseph Joestar with Hermit Purple? Wow, I had to get that out because I've been holding that in for too long. The way Araki's creativity takes us and expounds upon the new universe within such a contained part of the story is amazing. Now, if you guys didn't know, Part 4 is my second favorite JoJo part. So to see the new universe version of it in Part 8 got me hyped initially for it. And just like in Part 4, Part 8's Mario has some deep, dark, disturbing, and bizarre.
He said it! He said it!
things happening in it. This is a bit of a complicated part with divisive elements, and this is by no means a review, but more so the things I loved and didn't love about Part A. But if I had to give a speedrun version of the story, here we go. Part A starts off with a boy no one knows anything about, found around the wall eyes of Morio, a mysterious area deemed to have given some people their stand abilities. The boy found in the wall eyes, later named Josuke, has no recollection or memory of what he was doing before being buried at the wall eyes. Who is he and how did he end up there? The first half of JoJolion spends his time diving into the mystery of unraveling who Josuke truly is and why he has ended up where he was. The mystery behind Josuke, and one of my favorite reveals, is that he's not specifically somebody, but more so two people joined together. And when I found that out, my jaw dropped. I will always claim that Josuke is the most unique Joestar there is because of his physiology and how he came to be. He isn't a traditional Joestar born from the bloodline, but was fused into the bloodline through a method of equivalent exchange and the Rokakaka. What I tell you, Araki's creativity was through the roof when cooking this part. You can't tell me that ain't fire. Now, after we find out about his identity, it's a countdown between three parties who all want the new Rokakaka. Jobin for Tsurugi's illness, Josuke to save Holly, who is Yoshikage Kira's mother, and the rock humans who wanted to profit off of it. Like I said before, JoJolion is such a divisive part. There's parts I love about it, but oh boy, is it muddied with parts I'm not really a huge fan of. When looking at the actual synopsis and rough summary of Part A, I am loving and reminiscing on my time with it. But when I start to remember the minor details, it could get a bit shaky. But like I said, this isn't necessarily a review, but more so a video of me talking about the things I felt passionate enough to talk about. So let's move on with key elements I want to talk about and give my opinion on. Let's start with talking about the equivalent exchange, a concept more so introduced in Part A for three things: to fuse things or people together, to exchange the Higashikata family curse, or to replace injured and missing body parts with the Rokakaka. At the wall eyes, besides it being alluded to that it grants people stand abilities, when two things are buried by each other, they undergo a process of exchanging parts as of equal values. The most notable cases with the dying Yoshikage Kira and Josefume Kujo to create Josuke. Another use for the equivalent exchange is transferring the Higashikata curse, a disease where the eldest Higashikata son born develops a life-threatening disease around the age of 10. This created for some unique story moments sprinkled throughout this part, like how Norisuke's mom sacrificed herself to rid him of the disease, Jobin's bully being sacrificed to rid him of the disease, and Johnny Joestar taking the disease from his son, which results in his death. And the last use of the equivalent exchange is through the Rokakaka, a fruit from a different country that grants access to those with an injured or missing body part to exchange from an otherwise healthier body part of theirs. Overall, I love the equivalent exchange because it shows that Araki can make a singular concept, have it all be intermingled with many different things, but all kind of function somewhat similarly but differently. The equivalent exchange could have been something that fell flat on its head with it being tied to three different things and could have lost its impact and consistency over the story, but it all meshes well together to create for impactful moments that rely on this similar concept. To be real, I think it not being abused throughout this part helped mix things up, especially when we get to how the Higashikata curse is transferred to Toru, or how there's three different Rokakas and each of them all possess different forms of the equivalent exchange. Like I've said before, a very simple concept, but with Araki's creative brain, he creates 5 different versions of it. If that man Araki isn't the GOAT, then I don't know who is.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Now let's talk about the inclusion of 2 new things in JoJo's that help expand the world: the rock humans and the Rokakaka. The Rokakaka, specifically the grafted one, is a fruit that everyone in this part is fighting for. Jobin needs it for Tsurugi's impending illness, Josuke needs it to save Holly, and the rock humans just want it to profit monetarily off of it. Everyone is up in arms about this fruit. Another dope thing about the Rokakaka and its equivalent exchangeability is that there are 3 known different Rokakas in this part, from the original Rokakaka, the new engrafted Rokakaka that Josefume and Kira created, and the new Rokakaka serum developed by Toru. With the Rokakaka being the main item that's central to the plot of JoJolion, Araki was cooking by not making it just stick to one useful feature throughout the story. And then we have the rock humans, a partner species to regular humans that look just like them, but their genetic makeup is different. I have a love-hate relationship with rock humans because on one hand, they seem to be the opposite metaphorically, emotionally, and some parts physically speaking to humans, and they create for an interesting dynamic and ideology towards regular humans, but what Araki does with them is a bit disappointing. I love the inclusion of rock humans and what it could possibly mean for this part and moving forward in this new universe, but rock humans from an individualistic standpoint, were kind of boring for the most part. They're all mostly the same motive-wise, which was very uninteresting, and none of them truly felt like fleshed out antagonists like we've gotten in previous JoJo parts. They are barely different, and it's cool to fight a different species and it not feel contrived towards a narrative, but the rock humans as actual individuals and personalities in the story are severely lacking because of the lack of personality and character separating them from each other. But like I said earlier, with the creativity of this part, Araki opened a can of worms with the possibility through the lore and explanations of rock humans. Oh my god, the speculating we could do from here on out with every JoJo part because of their existence is endless. This could even open up the realm of possibilities for previous parts to have had rock humans if you love to fan fiction it up. But one of the biggest mysteries that I love thinking about with the rock humans is the meaning for their existence. Yes, we get their motives, but why did the god of this universe, because obviously Jesus Christ exists in this universe, create them? And I'm not talking about the explanation of them being a backup in case regular humans fail. I mean the reasoning on if regular humans fail. Why was that pointed out? Why would they be speculated to fail and knowingly have a backup plan? There's plenty of media out there saying that humanity's biggest downfall will be humanity itself, but I feel like this could be foreshadowing for future events in the series. Okay, I'm taking the tinfoil do-rag off right now. Overall, I love the concept and inclusion of rock humans, but I don't like any of the rock humans themselves except for maybe Tamaki Demo. As a character and not just his stand ability, I really enjoyed him. But on a fighting level, whoo, Toru and the Wonder of You were definitely something else on a whole new level that left me speechless. Now this part is where I might start losing y'all. It's time to talk about the characters in this section, and oh boy, it's definitely a mixed bag. Let me set the tone right here. I think Araki has severely wasted the potential of a lot of these characters in this part. So much could have been done and was left on the table with the cast he had given us here. Now I get it, JoJolion is the longest JoJo part currently and it's taken 10 whole years to complete, but would it be wrong for me to say that if this part was just a little bit longer, Araki could have done amazing things with these characters?
I'm interested.
Come on, throw your boy a bone. Like I said, a majority of the supporting cast was wasted. Many of these characters are treated as one-offs for specific arcs and just shown to introduce their stand in one arc and left to the wayside after their arc. It's honestly sad to see that most of the supporting cast falls off so hard because of how tight Araki tries to make this narrative. While the story is very ambitious for what JoJo has done up until this point, I feel it really lost the essence of a core part that made JoJo's by having these wacky characters put in wacky scenarios and having weird team-ups with each of them. Now, like I said earlier, part 4 is one of my favorite JoJo parts. And part 4 to me shows how great Araki can make characters that actually flesh out the weirdness of Morio but help build a sense of community with these stand users. Meeting characters like Yukaku, who kidnaps Koichi with her stand ability but later on goes to Cinderella to get her face switch to date Koichi was something that was beautifully done and well executed. But the reason something like that could work in part 4 is that Araki makes the community that he's created revolving characters. Random encounters with Koichi going to Rohan's house with the puppet stand user, Josuke and Okuyasu meeting Shigechi together and later on having lunch with him, or Koichi and Jotaro having to face off with Sheer Heart Attack in the suit tailor store, creates for great instances of having these characters all interact with each other in different scenarios while still experiencing life.
Now listen, that's called bars, nigga. You know nothing about that!
Araki instead in this part just puts comedic scenarios at the beginning of each arc with the Higashikata family members and moves on with the story. And while he does try to build that familiar bond of the Higashikatas with the reader through these moments, they aren't enough for me to care about them in moments like when Jobin threatens and quote-unquote kills Norisuke. Plus us only seeing each of their stands in the arc that centers a bit around them, and that's it, was kind of whack. Daya having the ability to take memories away, or Hato's heel growing ability only being displayed once felt so cheapening because it gives Araki the chance to write in an ability that seems powerful for the moment, but not truly applicable in many other situations. Now, am I saying Araki couldn't use these stands in creative ways outside of the arcs they debuted in? No, but what I am saying is that they fit the arc they debut in perfectly, and that's about it. No exploration through different scenarios or creative exercises were done with these characters or their stand abilities. But I will say though, the stand designs in part 8 gotta be the best out of all these parts. Not enough screen time is given to them, and that's just a crime at this point. Oh, I forgot to say it, but F Josh. Yes, we get to see his stand a bit more than the other Wasted Higashikata siblings, but it wasn't enough. I also really wish Joshu could have had a redemption kind of moment in the last arc, which Araki tried to give him, but soon took it away right after. If I already haven't said it, F Joshu. And we can't forget about Kei. You remember Kei, right? The Higashikata's housemaid? Let's spend as much time talking about her as Araki did in this manga. All right, moving on.
I was just kidding. Come on.
Come on, you guys know I was just kidding, right?
But seriously though, the sister of Yoshikage Kira, the daughter of Holly Kira, and we only get to see her in action twice? Really, Araki? Oh, Kay was done the dirtiest out of all the side casts in JoJolion. But this is definitely the part of the video where I'm gonna have a hate mob come after me because I don't like Josuke like that.
You what?
Huh?
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Now hold on, if I gotta list some things I like about Josuke is that he is integral to the story of this part, his physiology and how he's a Joestar is super unique, his standability is super dope, and thematically he fits this part oh so well. I'll say it again, he is such an integral part of this narrative, and without him, there wouldn't be a JoJolion. But here comes the but, and I'm talking about a whole lot of but, like Lotto and Meg the Stallion. He's kind of boring.
Yo, shut the up.
Now I get it, he's two different people mixed into one. He's the savior of this part. He himself defies logic. But he's still boring to me. And I don't mean boring overall, I'm talking more specifically about his personality. To me, he actually has little personality compared to most of the other JoJos that have preceded him. And while he does have standout moments with his resolve, decision making, emotional moments towards the end, and clueless nature because of the memory loss, these situations are just situations that make me enjoy him in those moments rather than me enjoying him on his own. I feel Josuke is the one character that doesn't necessarily fit a certain character archetype, like with Joseph being a wisecracking quick thinker, or Jotaro being the quiet and stoic type, or Josuke from part 4 being the cool and chill bipolar type. Is Josuke different from all these Joestars because he doesn't fit a character archetype? Well, yeah, but I don't think it was well executed. Another character that also fits this non-archetypal JoJo's protag formula is Johnny. Johnny is a character we see naturally progress over the series while feeling so realistic to reality that it was hard to see him as a fictional character. With Josuke, the best way I could describe him is that he feels stiff or robotic at points. Could this be because he's two people fused together? Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Like I said, he does have standout moments and emotional scenes that I do like, but they are too far and few in between for me to give him that pass. Also, I can't imagine how he would react with other characters outside of this part that didn't have to do with his purpose for the story. But you know who I do love and think is the best? Yasuho. I'm choosing Yasuho. Now Yasuho has to be one of, if not the best JoBro I have ever seen. From seeing the traumatic events from her past, her having to find herself and where she belongs, to coming into the forefront as a skillful stand user was some of the best stuff of JoJolion. I can make a whole video about Yasuho, and I know I gotta calm down because I am getting a little too excited.
I beg your pardon?
But I feel like she was the best character throughout the whole part. Every time Yasuho was on screen, I wanted more of her, and that's for many reasons.
Get away from her!
My bad. Y'all gotta understand that. Yasuho is baby girl.
You freaky frog! You're a freaky frog!
Now the second best character is easily Jobin. To keep it a bean, if y'all were to say he is the best, I wouldn't be mad. Now I gotta tell y'all, I ain't like Jobin at first, but man, Araki made me love him. He's probably one of the best antagonists that we've gotten from JoJo. He's so well done as a character that it feels wrong to even call him a villain from how Araki presents him. Someone with a troubled past who's always tackled life with only the strong survive type of motivation definitely got me. And Araki adds even more layers to his character by making his bad deed equal out to a good deed, but in a very selfish and destructive way. Just wow.
What do you mean by that?
I know that probably sounded confusing, but if you've read part 8, you definitely know what I'm talking about. And the last best character of this part is Tsurugi, son of Jobin and the next in line to contract the Higashikata curse. Man, I did not like Tsurugi at the beginning either, but Araki definitely makes Tsurugi grow on you, from the lone adventure he has with Yasuo to how he has to deal with the secret of Jobin hiding the new Rokakaka. Shoot, when the disease started activating Tsurugi, my heart fell to my behind because, oh, mommy, is there someone outside? Uh-oh, I was already at the limit. Now it's finally here, the disease. Oh, this is the disease. Even though I just dragged Araki earlier for the wasted potential for a majority of the side characters, the ones he fleshes out were magnificently done from not just a plot standpoint, but to a thematic standpoint. Araki cooked with Yasuho, Jobin, and Tsurugi. These are some of the best developed characters that JoJo's currently has to offer. I still do think Araki did Kay dirty, but Holly even dirtier by not even tying up her storyline. This could be tied up some way in part 9, but I highly doubt it. And also, Ray is my GOAT in this part. Now I know I probably pissed some people off already, but this is the last and toughest part of the video for me. It's tough because I used to be a person that took JoJo's as a series at face value and just enjoyed it for what it is. But after actually diving into the manga and seeing how well crafted JoJo's really is, has made me gain a deeper appreciation for manga as a medium and Araki's style and creativity. JoJo's is one of those things that's hard to judge for me because you could basically chalk up anything that happens in JoJo's to, well, it's JoJo's, or that was bizarre. But after reading something so consistently and tightly written like Steel Ball Run, I feel like Araki has been on a nice 3-peat run since part 6, like Kanye West with the college dropout to graduation. Wait, hold up. That's actually the perfect analogy. Part 6 is college dropout, part 7 is late registration, and part 8 is graduation. But wait. Hold up again. Maybe parts 1 through 3 are college dropout to graduation. Sorry, I just had to get in my hip hop bag for a moment there. But thematically speaking, you can always use the excuse, this defies the logic of what JoJo's is because of how this part is. Watch this. The sidecast was hugely sidelined? That defies usual JoJo logic.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
See, it kind of makes sense, but I hate that I was able to come up with that cop-out. Thematically, Araki was in his bag when it comes to this part, especially when it comes to the dynamics and parallels some characters share with each other, like with Yasuo and Josuke both figuring themselves out figuratively and literally to find out who they are. Or like Josuke and Jobin both having that winner mentality and always calling out when they win. When it comes to the core of JoJolion from its writing, outside of the gags, it's really some strong stuff Araki has laid in there that I enjoy. Now, while I think this part has some of Araki's best writing, when it comes to storytelling, sequencing, and sometimes pacing and suspense, I do want to say that there are some things that really bothered me about this part. And I won't be able to catch every single thing that's wrong with JoJolion because it's still a bit fresh for me, and I don't want to make this video of where I tear it down, but let's actually talk about it. Araki sometimes sacrifices the logic and consistency in this part for the sake of confusion, suspense, mystery, and convenience for the plot. And it's probably not that bad since this part took 10 years to complete, so he probably had elements that he didn't care for anymore, but on a binge read, some things just don't add up. And if you guys don't know, I'm speculation sage, so I had my tinfoil do-rag on tight, so there would be things I would remember, but something later on would negate it, or it just would never be talked about again. Let me list a few. First off, the bite mark. This was shown at the beginning of JoJolion on Josuke, Yasuo, and Joshu after their incident at the Walleyes. As the reader, we are supposed to assume that this bite mark from the Walleyes is what gives them their stand abilities. And while this could be true for Joshu, who should have gotten a stand hereditarily either way like Dia should have, why does Yasuo and Josuke have one? Josuke, who was revealed to be Josafume Yoshikage Kira, already had a stand which was the fusion of the previous 2 stand users. He even knew how to use it in the first arc, meaning he was experienced in using it from the 2 previous beings he was. And for Yasuo, Araki actually messed up by showing us that when Toru first met Yasuo as a kid, she was able to use Paisley Park for Toru to find the identity of Satoru Akefu for him to steal. Now, while the Walleyes could have given them their abilities, it's still not explained why there are bite marks. In retrospect, after a full read-through, the bite marks kind of do nothing and aren't explained. Secondly, Josuke having 4 balls. Great to hook us and get us wondering what happened, but makes no sense once all the equivalent exchanges are explained. If anything, he was supposed to keep the same amount of balls, but maybe have one switched out with Yoshikage Kira's, or maybe he would have had a half and half. Thinking about it, man, having half and half balls like it was a lemonade and sweet tea mix is crazy, by the way. Also, why am I fixated on another man's balls? His 4 balls at that. Because if he had 4 balls, shouldn't he have 2? My bad. I was wildin'. And the last one I'll list, because I could probably later on make a video of all the plot holes in JoJolion, has to be the photo of Carrera, Josafume, and Kira. How did she get that photo with all 3 of them in there? I get this was a moment in the story to help us unveil a little bit more of Josuke being Josafume and telling us who Josafume is, but it kind of crumbles when we get the whole flashback during the Tamaki Demo arc, because we find out that Yoshikage Kira is unfamiliar with Carrera, and Josafume doesn't really know who she is besides that she stalks him. Doesn't make sense, but she does have a heavy impact in the story for being part of Josuke's past and the reveal she drops. And those are just some of the logical inconsistencies when it comes to the plot that I didn't like. There's also the whole issue I have with stand abilities and how they are sometimes made a bit too convenient for certain instances, but that could possibly be another video for another time. But besides that, I still have to commend Araki for being so daring with this part, with it having some of the highest highs I've seen in JoJo's, and Araki truly being experimental with his approach to a style from writing to character and stand designs throughout this whole part. While the writing surrounding JoJolion is his biggest problem, the ideas that Araki implements into it is his biggest biggest win for me. Also, last thing I gotta get off is that structurally and pacing wise, this gives me heavy Dragon Ball Z Saiyan Saga to Cell Saga vibes. Let me cook for a minute. At the beginning of JoJolion, we're introduced with this mystery of where Josuke comes from, similar to Goku finding out about the Saiyans, right? Then at the end of the midway point of JoJolion, like at the end of the Frieza arc, the main character defeats the enemy that was the cause of the main character's life to be like that from the beginning, right? But then we move to the next half of JoJolion and the Cell Saga. We bounce from enemy to enemy without knowing the grand villain of the part, right? And we've always had something that's been teased in the background of the first half come to the forefront of this arc. In this instance, the Rokakaka and Gohan, right? And at the end of the Cell Saga and JoJolion, the thing that's been teased and tossed around in the background defeats the main villain, right?
Man, what the f is you talking about?
What's that?
I'm sorry, man.
I wasn't thinking about it when I did it. I should have said like Burger King.
I'm just saying, y'all gotta let your boy cook. Not gonna lie to you guys, I feel like I've been yapping for a long while now and it's about time to close this video out. I know this is probably the most negative I've talked about JoJo's ever, but to be real, I love my journey throughout all of Part 8 aside from a few hiccups here and there. There were many things for me to love about this, like the memorable moments for me, some newer concepts that Araki brought in, and of course the callbacks to Part 4. Seeing Josuke be this wandering guy trying to figure out who he is until the end where he figures out and accepts what he truly is was amazing. The character growth and development for characters like Yasuho and Jobin were outstanding, with them being the best characters throughout the whole part. And while JoJolion isn't perfect, and I would never expect the JoJo part to be, it's uniquely fitting for what it represents and how it goes about it. I think I finally come to my final conclusion for JoJolion. JoJolion is a part with many things against it, but way more things in its favor. But nonetheless, JoJolion is the JoJo part that defies logic. Wow. That was pretty corny.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
But that's about it for the video here. While these are my thoughts on JoJolion now, I'm not gonna say that my feelings I've shared for it now will forever be my feelings on this part. I think as I do more rereads of this part and really look at the minor details with the knowledge of the end goal, it'll definitely change my reading experience from here on out. I like JoJolion overall, and it's definitely in my top 3 favorite JoJo parts, but you guys let me know what you think about this JoJolion video down in the comment section down below. Let me know if I was spitting, let me know if I was burning the food, let me know if it gets too much hate or if it doesn't get enough hate. Sound off in the comment section down below. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. Dark Sage out. Peace.
JoJo.